I was living in Penticton for about 13 years before I discovered that it was a mecca for rock climbing. Your first time climbing is intense. All the equipment, the techniques, the terrain, it's very unfamiliar, and you think you're gonna die the first time you go rock climbing. So it's a very spiritual experience.
Glad you're wearing a helmet down there.
I think the thing that attracts me the most to climbing photography is the climber in the photo. You know, that person got there somehow, and it's up to you to speculate how they got there. And there's a sense of adventure in that speculation. You kind of imagine yourself being there, what it would feel like hanging from your fingertips. Climbing's adventurous, it's inspirational, it's rich with color. And the places it takes you are endless. There's a whole world of it out there to be discovered. In the early days of my adventure filmmaking, I focused a lot on mountain biking. I was really into it. And I enlisted a couple of my friends, Mike, Stu, and Aaron, and we found this sweet road gap, and we started hitting this thing. And then on the 5th time when Mike did the road gap, his front fork sheared, and he went smashing right into the ground. I was the first one to come up to him, and he was making these horrible gurgling sounds.
Just lay down for a minute, man.
Chill. Just chill. You're in shock right now, dude. Just chill. Just chill. Does something hurt? Is there shooting pain?
Everything hurts.
I feel guilty and responsible for this. I don't think this is what they signed up for.
Stay laying down, Mike, man.
Stay down. Stay down.
And even though we got Mike out and he's okay now, I feel like we could have been more prepared. It really made me rethink what I was trying to do with my camera, and was this really worth it to get a few images? Was it worth it to put my friends and myself at risk? So after that accident, I became hyper aware of these dangerous situations, and I became very timid in my adventures. You know, I'd find myself holding back a lot more, and you know, over time I started to build my confidence back up.
You need time and space to work on your passion, and that's what Dave does. My idea of a good time involves probably a book and a lot of tea. I'm definitely not like, oh, I have some time off, let's go do something dangerous in the woods.
Love adventuring.
By the same token, a lot of the fun and memorable things I've done in my life are because of Dave. He gets Zen and I out of the house and out of our ordinary experiences so that we can have a more interesting, a more rich and beautiful life. I've always just wanted to support him in doing whatever it is that's making him feel like the best version of himself. So if it's hanging off a piece of string on the side of a mountain, then I have to let him do that. Like, I'm not gonna be the person that tries to cram him into a box to suit my own needs.
When I first became a father, I figured that I should probably go out and get a cookie cutter job. But, you know, it made me into an unlikable person, and it was negatively affecting how I interacted with my family and my friends. Even though some people would consider these jobs as safe, I was starting to see that it was destructive for me. And I think that's more dangerous than what I'm doing right now. It's become a family tradition to do a pilgrimage to Squamish every year. which is pretty much the climbing capital of Canada. This year, I got the opportunity to connect with RATSON, who is a local climbing photographer. It's always nice to be able to hang out with other creatives in the climbing genre. We're sort of far and few in between.
Despite there being a lot of these world-class destinations for climbing, I don't think there's really any that are like Squamish in the sense of being roadside. I think that's what makes it really special for a lot of climbers, is that you can almost domesticate big wall climbing. We can go, hang out, have some coffee downtown, and then go climb the Grand Wall and be back in time to go, have afternoon beers.
Alex had invited me along to shoot some video and behind-the-scenes content on a commercial shoot. The weather wasn't really cooperating, and it was kind of up in the air what our objective would be.
Are you having a great time?
No!
Do you love traveling with Mom and Dad?
No!
It's supposed to get some nice weather in the next couple days, but it's hard to be optimistic when it's just puking like this. And how's the planning been for this?
Organized in a very unorganized way, not knowing what we're truly going to do, but I think we know now. That's our ride.
Charlie Yankee Romeo is downwind left-hand runway 33, full stop. Access to Q21, Delta Sky Pilot 5500. Looking pretty good. Looking beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank God this thing faces south. Yeah.
I think it's a really aesthetic looking mountain from a distance. It's a true pinnacle, but on the same token, the climbing's not extremely hard on it. But the climbing's also hard enough that it keeps a lot of people away in the sense of hikers and scramblers. It's definitely like a mountain that you need to be, to some extent, a climber to get to the top. Which, like, you think even the Chief, you get to the top of the Chief and you have this cool climbing experience, but as soon as you're up there, there's hundreds of tourists, and like, they're awesome. I don't want to knock on them, but they have no relation to climbing. It's almost a bit of a buzzkill, because like, yeah, this is like sweet climbing route, meeting up climbers while climbing, and then you get to the top, it's like, oh, so many people. And that's something when you get to like those Habricks of the world, you kind of wean out that crowd, and you get to the top and you feel like you actually are having a true intimate moment in the mountains on top of something.
Copy that, Ryan. Let me know when you're off route.
That's actually, yeah, if you keep your hand in the chalk bag. Yeah. Nice, that's good.
Boom, dude. Beautiful.
What is that guy?
It's a medium format. Film's just super unique compared to what everyone's doing on the digital side. And because each shot is costing you over $1, you also, make those shots count a bit more. You don't just pray and spray like most people do with digital cameras nowadays. Can you guys be looking up attentively? Nice.
If somehow you could get those sweet shots of like a climber on this remote peak, if you could get that without having climbing skills, it wouldn't be near as special, and a lot of people would have that photo. But the fact that there's this gatekeeper having to be somewhat decent climber that can work almost on their own in that environment, that's what keeps people out. So you have to make sure that you're able to get past that gate of climbing skills and strength.
Weather just opened right up. Yeah, it's awesome. Definitely not what we were expecting yesterday. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we lucked out. Right on. Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'm a better photographer than I am a climber. And some of the climbs that the people in my photos are doing are well beyond my skill level. So I get to live through them vicariously. As the climbing photographer, you have this whole other set of logistics you need to consider, like how to get ahead of the climber, what position you need to be in, how to make it safe, all the while trying to get an exposure and not dropping your camera.
If climbing's taught me anything about living life, it's, for one, you can be inspired, you can dream, and then I think what climbing taught me is how to break down that dream into smaller pieces and figure out the logistics of making it safe or making it doable or possible, and then building it back up in like a big sequence and realizing it. As a rock climber, I try to be a minimalist as much as I can. I generally don't like big, heavy, bulky packs, and so I tend to go out with just what I need for climbing. But a photographer has a whole nother kit. I mean, it's not only the climbing equipment, but then of course it's the batteries and the lenses and the glass and it always just kind of catches me off guard. I'm like, you're gonna carry that? Like, we got an hour-long hike to do. I'm like, yeah, no problem, it's just part of the job.
In the Okanagan Valley, where I live, the temperatures are not really conducive for ice climbing. We'll get an okay ice season every few years or so, but it's always a hit or miss. To travel to some of these places and photograph these ice climbing routes, you need another set of skills that you don't have if you were just only a rock climber. And to be a good ice climber, you need mileage. And I wasn't really getting mileage here in the Okanagan. So I called up some friends in the Rocky Mountains for a nice climbing adventure.
There's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of routes in the Canadian Rockies, and there's still hundreds of routes to be explored. When everyone, else is dreaming of ice climbing, there's always kind of like ice climbing to be had in the Canadian Rockies. It seems foggier than I thought it was going to be. Not ideal for photography. I definitely think that when people post shots of ice climbs, that more people end up at those ice climbs, especially because of the reach that some of us have in the local community. A lot of people end up in those destinations when we shoot, for sure. And sometimes I'll do it sometimes I'll do it on purpose. So I might post like a shot like, hey, this climb is really good right now because I want to go to a different climb that day. And so it'll drive traffic to the other climb that I'm not going to anymore.
Our route today we should be able to actually avoid avalanche terrain for the most part, which is really good. Not too many other people. I think there's a couple climbers up there having some fun, and we have probably about a 2-hour hike in to our route. So at the very least, we're gonna have a nice hike with some fun people.
So much fun. I think we should do this all day. What happened down there?
I think I messed up, Jenny.
You were right down in there.
I feel like there's a % chance of going swimming.
I would take your backpack off first.
I gotta take off all my straps for sure. Really like having like $15,000 worth of camera gear that's about to go for a swim.
Just because the first person made it across without falling in doesn't mean the second, third, or fourth person will. Sweet. Yeah, just cruising. Making big progress here.
Like make an ice anchor and I'll pendulum into it or something. Just be cognizant that they're below us when you come down to not knock ice on them. Oh, look at you, shooting me. Like often my camera's always packed with snow, like this is packed with snow, snow. Snow gets everywhere.
Always keep it facing down. Connect, ta-da, and hopefully you don't have any snowflakes. Give her.
Oh, my fingers are cold.
These would be super sick if we could actually see Pat right now, but it's like fogging and snowing, but fortunately it just lifted a bit, so I'm gonna take a couple more shots. It's really warm today though. This doesn't like portray how cold it is most days.
Nighttime, end of adventure, almost.
What time did we get here? It was 11 hours of solid movement with like big packs and 20 to 50 centimeters of trail breaking.
It's one thing to see photos of these beautiful mountains and these ice formations, and it's another to be there standing right in front of it. To break out of the monotonous day-to-day activities and go experience these beautiful places, it really puts your life into perspective. I can view things more clearly at a higher elevation. I can recognize that lake is just water molecules accumulating at the bottom of the valley. It becomes apparent that I'm just a little puzzle piece, and I can start to get a sense of how I fit into the bigger picture. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. They want to know how they fit in this world. Rock just fell and hit my camera and broke my favorite lens. Oh, the focus ring is jammed. The danger out there is real. You know, even though we got all this safety gear, there's always the risk of injury or disaster. Right there, core shot.
Yeah. So I knew about this. Oh my God, I knew about this one, but this one, solid, man.
I'd rap on that.
No. Well, we just did.
After coming back home from the Rockies, I had a pretty dodgy ice climbing season. Harder than it looked.
Right? Yeah, it's, I was like, when the pump came on, at that same spot you took a hang. Oh, oh my God.
Well, I guess no one else is climbing that.
Okay, well, worst case scenario, and he doesn't come home, you know, what's our life look like tomorrow? I do have that in the back of my mind because some of what he's doing is perhaps more physically dangerous than other people's jobs.
But it's like a double-edged sword. The more you're climbing, the better you are equipped, but the more you're climbing, the more you're exposed. But that's the duality of life. We will always have to risk something to receive fulfillment.
Who doesn't want to be, you know, with somebody that is happy and that is, you know, lit up and empowered by the thing that they are achieving in life? Go out and be yourself. That's a really important message. So if we can do that for our son and say, hey, be yourself, follow your dreams, what an amazing gift that could be.
I'm not advocating everyone to go out and go hang off a cliff. What I'm saying is go pursue what feels honest to you.